The impact of colonialism on Palestinian history. For centuries, the land known today as Palestine was a crossroads of empires, cultures, and faiths. But the modern history of Palestine, its identity, borders, and people, has been profoundly shaped by colonialism. To understand today's conflict, we must first understand how outside powers redrew its destiny. At the turn of the 20th century, Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire. Arabs, Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived side by side. It was not a paradise, but it was home, a diverse and living mosaic. Then, in the aftermath of World War I, everything changed. The Ottoman Empire collapsed, and Britain took control of Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. But Britain's role was not neutral. In 1917, it issued the Balfour Declaration promising to support the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, while vaguely stating that the rights of existing non-Jewish communities would be preserved. This single sentence, written by a colonial power without consulting the indigenous population, set the stage for decades of conflict. Throughout the 1920s and 1930s, Jewish immigration to Palestine increased dramatically, fueled by rising anti-Semitism in Europe and later, the horrors of the Holocaust. Palestinian Arabs saw their land increasingly settled by newcomers with the backing of a global empire. Tensions rose, protests were met with force, revolts were crushed. And British policies often favored one side over the other, deepening the divisions. By 1947, the United Nations, under heavy Western influence, proposed a partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. The plan gave 55% of the land to the Jewish minority and 45% to the Arab majority. Palestinians rejected the proposal, seeing it as yet another colonial arrangement that ignored their rights and voices. In 1948, the British withdrew. The State of Israel was declared. War followed. Over 700,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from their homes in what is now remembered as the Nakba, Arabic for catastrophe. But colonialism did not end with the British departure. It evolved. Israel's occupation of the West Bank and Gaza in 1967 further fragmented Palestinian land and society. Settlements backed by state resources expanded across the occupied territories, altering geography and demographics. Military checkpoints, walls, and permit systems restricted daily life. Resources, especially water and land, became tools of control. Meanwhile, Palestinian resistance took many forms, from armed struggle to peaceful protest, from diplomacy to cultural resilience. Yet across generations, Palestinians have remained stateless, fragmented, and often silenced in international forums. The legacy of colonialism in Palestine is not just a matter of the past. It lives on in the present-day realities of displacement, occupation, and statelessness. And it continues in the asymmetry of power between a state with global alliances and a people whose nationhood remains in limbo. To understand Palestinian history is to understand the consequences of foreign rule, imposed borders, and broken promises. It is a story of loss, but also of survival, memory, and enduring identity. History, written by empires, can be rewritten by people, and the story of Palestine is still being written today. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Until next time.